again. It's William. I'd like to outdoors. And today I'd like to bring the next episode of the Commands of Christ and Burn Friday Burn. You'll remember last week we were on Don't Cast Pearls, command number 16. Today we're going to do command number 17, ask, seek, and knock. We're going to be coming out of a passage from, once again, the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verses 7 and 8. And this is a part where, in my Bible, it's got a title of this section of the chapter. It calls it Effective Prayer. Jesus said in verse 7, "Keep on asking, and you will receive what you ask for. Keep on seeking, and you will find. Keep on knocking, and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, everyone who seeks finds, and to everyone who knocks the door will be opened." You know, there's a lot of good advice in that too, because if we don't ask, no one is going to know what we're wanting. Of course, the Bible teaches us that God already knows what you want before you open your mouth to ask, but He still, I believe, wants to hear you ask. And if you don't continuously seek something that is, alright, let's say you come in from somewhere and you lay your car keys down and they say fall off of the end table or wherever and go up underneath the edge of the sofa, and you search frantically for your car keys when you get ready to go somewhere else. You keep seeking until you find them, though. Same way, Jesus said, if you keep seeking, you're going to find what you're seeking. Anyone who earnestly seeks for answers to their prayers from God, they're going to keep on seeking. Yeah? And if someone is earnest about finding Christ, they're going to keep on seeking until they do. And when you go visit someone and you know that they are at home because their car is in the driveway or whatever, but you know they're at home, and you knock on the door and you stand there and no one immediately opens the door, you knock again because you know they're there. You keep on knocking until finally they come and open the door. Jesus said to knock and the door will be opened. Keep on knocking. Keep on knocking. So I'm going to get up from this right now, and I'm going to step over here and we're going to get this little burn going. I waited a little late about doing this, and it looks like it's going to be getting dark pretty soon. So I'm going to get this going and get back at this as quick as possible. Stick around. Alright, now we can't just ask this fire to start itself up. We've got to put forth an effort on this. So we're going to do a little scrape here and take this ferro rod and stick a spark to it. We're going to seek some fire out of this fat wood. Really like the smell of that stuff. Alright, here we are again. Got that little burn going, and the mosquitoes was getting pretty bad, so I had to go put on some spray as well. Still warm enough for that, and it's still warm enough not to have that fire right here beside me. So we are doing a picture-in-picture burn again. You can see me over there. So we'll just continue doing it like this. So as long as this is working, you know, it's like that asking, seeking, and knocking. I haven't been seeking a different way of doing this during hot weather. It's just for me, the best thing to do is have the fire off over there 20 feet away from me so that I don't get too hot out here. It's too easy to get overheated, and I definitely don't want to do that. So let's get back to this passage of this command, rather. Ask, seek, and knock. Now I just got through reading that in the New Living Translation, and now I'm going to read it out of King James Version. I'm going to read Matthew chapter 7, verses 7 and 8. Jesus said, Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For every one that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. So, ask, seek, and knock is the command number 17 of the commands of Christ. And again, Jesus is talking about prayer when he is teaching the people about this command. God is love. We know that from the scriptures. And for humans even, love is dependent on an intimate relationship, and it's the same way with God. Our love toward him is expressed in our intimate relationship with him, and that's part of the seeking. You're not going to have a relationship with a person unless you seek to have that relationship. Unless you seek to have a relationship with God, you're not going to have one either. In the book of James, let's turn over there, chapter 5, verse number 16. See, asking, in order to be effective, has to be fervent. And James tells us that. He says in verse 16, chapter 5, the effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man avails much. That means that avails much means it makes much power available. So when you are asking fervently, deeply from the heart, there's more power in your prayer because God receives it more, uh, I would say, readily, because He sees your heart and He knows that you're serious about your asking. If prayer was simply a matter of asking and having God give us what we want, then there wouldn't be much done on our part. That's why there's the asking, the seeking, and the knocking. We keep on, we get persistent about it, and it brings more of an understanding to us about our need. We don't just think we need something and we just ask and receive it. We've got to really recognize our need, because it could be a want instead of a need. A lot of times God will allow wants to come into your life, but most of the time it's just going to be your needs. The Bible tells us that He will supply all your needs. It doesn't say He's going to give you everything you want. Asking anyway, even if it is something you want, because eventually it might turn into a need. God allows things to happen in our lives that often does that. It turns our wants into needs, because He will allow situations to come into our lives that will bring about a need that used to be a want and not a need. You know, there's a another part of this, disillusionment. If we are asking the wrong person for the right thing, or if we're asking of the right person for the wrong thing, we are disillusioned in the spider come down. uh, we're disillusioned about what's going on in our life and in our hearts, because that's where uh, our mind misinforms our heart of by calling a desire a want, by convincing our heart that it's a need, and sends us to God seeking for it. We're disillusioned in believing that asking God, just because He's God, even if we're asking for the wrong thing, He's going to give it to us just to shut us up. Sometimes, maybe, but very seldom. God's got your best interest at heart, and He's not wanting to bring bad into your life, not to your hurt, that is. I mean, the Bible tells us that He's not out to hurt you, but He might allow you to have something that you're wanting, just so you can see that it was the wrong thing for you. You know, we have 4 seasons. We've got the spring, we've got the summer, and we've got fall, and we've got winter. In the spring, sometimes God, please make His rain stop. It's rain, 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 rain. Well, then here comes summer. Oh God, cut this heat off. It is so daggum hot. We keep asking, but we're asking the wrong things, because we know that it's going to change. There's some things that are in the physical universe that are set by God, that He's not going to change just because we say change this. He set the earth in motion, the Bible tells us, and He brings the rain when the rain is supposed to come. It might, for our little area, it might cause a flood, but there's purpose in that. Sometimes there's a cleansing that needs to be done to the land, and just like when God made the great flood happen, it was to cleanse the earth. And sometimes our little area of the earth needs to be cleansed, so he brings a flood to wash some stuff away that needs to be washed away and to draw people to himself. But it also gives people a purpose to draw near to God and start asking for relief from their suffering. Just like the people when he brought them out of Egypt, just like then, uh, they asked and they asked and they knocked and they seeked, and he wants us to seek that relationship with him. And again, he's not wanting to bring hurt into your life. He's wanting to bring good into your life. We even see that in the scriptures. I've mentioned this I don't know how many times about Romans 8:28. When we love God, he's going to cause everything to work together for our good when we're called according to his purpose. And when that situation is his calling of a purpose in us. If we are asking according to the requirements of God, then we're going to start by seeking after God first. A couple of commands ago, it was seek God's kingdom and his righteousness. Well, it had one more word after that, first. So there's seeking, you know. If we're wanting to ask for something of God, then we at first should be seeking a relationship with him so that we can put our faith into action when we ask. Our asking is for nothing if we don't have faith to put along with it, if we don't start out with faith. Because we're supposed to know that he wants best for us, and that builds up our faith. One more thing, then I'm through. I've already mentioned that we need to seek him with our whole heart. Our worship and our prayers need to be from the heart. It's not just because we have turned our image of God into the genie in the bottle that we only pull out when we want something, and the rest of the time we just set him on the shelf and ignore him. That's what, if you had a relationship like that with a human being, it wouldn't last. It just wouldn't, because you're not putting anything in it. You can't take a person and just put them on the shelf and use them when you want to. In the book of 1 John, one of the epistles of John, chapter 3, verse 22 through 24, whatsoever we ask, we receive of him, because we keep his commandments and do those things that are pleasing in his sight. And he that keeps his commandments dwells in him, and he in them. So if we're keeping God's commandments and following the commands of Christ, he's in us by the power of his Holy Spirit. He promised that. And that's going to even help us in our asking and seeking, because we're going to be led by the Holy Spirit and guided in our spirit by according to the desires of God for our lives. So I would like to say, join me next time when we'll be doing command number 18. do for others. Boy, oh boy. Do we not like that? We'll see. So join me next time for another Burn Friday Burn.